inside your bedroom. We stopped counting the days, lost in the rhythm. Physical silence. No need.
Hello, and welcome to Black Girl Love. I am your host, Kat Williams, and this is I believe it's our 7th episode here at Black Girl Love, the podcast. Gotta add that part, because you know there is a Black Girl Love, the book, that you can find at Amazon. Just look for Black Girl Love, author Anandra Williams. And now that we got that commercial out of the way, let's get into this week's podcast. Now, if you didn't know, now you know that. And Black Girl Love, the podcast, we split everything down into 3 different segments just to make it easily digestible for you. And that way, if you have a certain part that you really prefer to listen to, you can always come back to it very easily. So this part is black. And there's a lot of things black going on in the world. Mainly, there's buzz in the streets because Freaknik, the documentary, will be released. Child. The children are running scared, honey. Especially the ones who was at the Freaknik participating 100%, showcasing all their wares. They're a little bit worried right now. And I get it a little bit, but not a lot. And for those who don't know what Freaknik is, basically it was a spring break type festival that was started in Atlanta, Georgia. It basically was a college thing. Began in 1983, and I want to say it ran up until like early 90s. Because I went one year. I'm just going to go and put it out there. I went one year because word on the street, it was the place you needed to be if you were black and young and carefree. And see, this is before cell phones and before everybody had personalized cameras and camcorders, rather. Not cameras, but camcorders, recording everything. Because I know we took some pictures at Freaknik. I'm sure they're on somebody's old camera right now. But yeah, so there's a documentary coming out. And it's going to be some people on there doing some things they probably didn't want anybody to know. I'm sure there's some deacons and deaconesses and mothers of the church and pastors and saints, sanctified and holiness, who are freaking out right now because they hotels, the stories that you tell. Oh, you done had a little sip of something, or you in good company. Those hotels are going to have some visual representation now because before the invention of the cell phones and people just filming everything, you could do stuff and nobody knew about it but you and the people that was doing it. And those were good days, people. Those were excellent days, people. And now they're gone. So, you can't even do anything in a black room anymore. Somebody got a camera that can see in the dark. And Freaknik, we did some things that best believe should have stayed in the dark. But they come into the light. And everybody's scary. It's going to be some nakedness on display, I'm sure. But I ain't gonna lie, y'all. Freaknik was amazing. I had a blast the one year that I went. I want to say I went in 93 or 94. It was probably 94, I'm thinking, but I'm not really sure because, the 90s were a blur for a lot of reasons. All of them legal, though. All of them legal. But yeah, Freaknik was beautiful. I mean, picture it. 1993 or 1994, a sea of blackness as far as the eye can see. Young, attractive, energetic, beautiful people just out enjoying the sun and all that Atlanta has to offer. Picture it, we're on the highway in Atlanta and all the exits are blocked and the traffic is at a complete standstill. Like you could literally get out and walk faster than the car. You could probably do that and beat the car or meet it at the next location. And that's what we did. Somebody was driving, the rest of us got out, we just walked and mingled, and then by the time car caught up with us, after they done creeped and crawled for 15-20 minutes. And I mean, when I tell you in that 20 minutes it might have went 5 feet At one point, it was a little irritating, ain't gonna lie. And I feel sorry for the people of Atlanta. I really do, because I know it was horrible for those who were living in it. I mean, streets were totally blocked off. Restaurants, businesses shut down. If they didn't want our dollars, they shut it down. And it wasn't managed well. It was worse than Florida, I think, because they were used to it. Atlanta wasn't used to it, and nor is Atlanta built for that type of mass traffic. And I don't know if the cops handled it well. It could have been because we were black, and they don't like to see us having a good time. So there was a lot of that going on. Suffice it to say, it got shut down. And there's pros and cons of that. I hesitate to go into either column, because I see it as an adult. I can see the cons, but as a young adult, I could definitely see the pros, and the pros were beautiful, to put it mildly. Baby, I could still picture some of the people I saw at Freaknik. I mean, just beautiful specimens of masculinity and femininity and everything in between. Atlanta had it all the Qs, Kappas, Alphas, Deltas, Sigmas, Datas, all of them. Every frat and sorority was represented. Ones you had never heard of before, black people you had never seen before, came out like roaches. And they was everywhere, and they didn't scatter when the light came on. So it was a good party time. But good things must come to an end, and it did end. And the documentary's coming out. And one of the things that we've always stated, those who were there, was thank God there's no documented proof, outside of a couple snapshots. Nope, somebody filmed it. Somebody found all of the videotape and made it into a documentary. Check it out on Hulu. I don't know when it's dropping. I'm hoping I'll see myself on it, because I know I wasn't naked, so I ain't too worried. Now, a few of y'all, you probably were. You might want to make peace. Go and tell your children and your grandchildren that you was a freak. And I mean that for men and women. Just go and let them know. Go and let them know. Tell your mama, just in case she watch it too. Mama, that weekend you thought I was being good. I was good. I was good. And that's all I'm going to say on that. Now, speaking of spaces, though, because Freaknik was a space, I think it's interesting that we don't have space anymore. You get what I'm saying when I say that? There's this discussion going on. I found it really fascinating. The 3 spaces that humans occupy in their life: home, work, and the third space is really the social aspect of it. The freedom to move at will and to go to these places, be it a coffee shop, a library, a gathering spot, a bar, a pub, the park, the beach, those third spaces, right? And the ones that you use daily, not just the third space where you're on vacation, but the third spaces that you go to daily, and how those third spaces are slowly fading away because we are so caught up in the first 2 spaces. And the reason being is now home is the office. There's quite a few people who work from home now. So that secondary space of work is no longer there, right? It's now in the corner of your bedroom or the office that you may be fortunate to have, because everybody's not fortunate to have an office, a dedicated office space. And so that third space doesn't get used as much. And if you're in America, you're ducking bullets in that third space. I don't know how y'all do it in America right now, honestly. You can't go to Walmart. You can't go to work. You can't go to school. You can't go to church. You can't even go to a park without someone shooting it up. You can't even attend a parade. In this week alone, in the last, I'd say 7 to 10 days, it's been like 3 or 4 mass shootings. And when I say mass shootings, I mean one person killing others, right? Yesterday, there was a guy who shot his mother, sister, and brother, and the police killed him. Suicide by cop. The guy who shot up the bank and killed, I believe, 5 coworkers, and then the police killed him. Suicide by cop. The trans man who shot up the school in Memphis. I think it was Memphis or Tennessee. And then I just saw a case where a mother killed her kids. And that's 4. And all gun related. So, I mean, my question to the listener is, how do you operate in that third space? Do you feel safe in that third space? Is that an issue for you? The guns, the probability that someone may decide to shoot up this particular location on that day. Like, how do you deal with, getting your kids up and getting them dressed and sending them off to the possibility that they may not make it home? How do you get up and get dressed and go to work, to the grocery store, to the park, to the movies, everywhere? I mean, every third space has been shot up in America. Parades, church has been shot up. Just people just walking around killing people. I don't know. How do you do that? How do you wrap your mind around it? And why is this still a factor? And why is nobody discussing that as much as we have elected people to basically do what we want them to do, but they're not doing, I think, what the majority wants us to do, or wants them to do, rather. I think there's, and I'm going to be real political here. I think that the world is run by, say, a couple hundred people, right? And the rest of us, we just rats in a maze, right? When there's a world where people are hungry, dying, mass atrocities are occurring, and there are billionaires in the world that eradicate at least the hunger and homelessness portion of it, when we celebrate, and we have articles celebrating the fact that one person is worth a couple $100 billion, $400 billion, $500 billion, those are not even realistic numbers. And it also indicates that money isn't real. So I'm like, what? Huh? How do we do this? How have we gotten to this point? At first we were hunter-gatherers. We were just trying to live. Now we've done that, and I feel like we're going backwards. And I don't know what that means for us. I really don't. I'm not a philosopher. I am not a person who sees into the future. I can't tell you. I will say that based off today, I'm scared. I'm scared for us. And I know that America is not collapsing tomorrow. It can't. I mean, we are, whether we want to be or not, we are a global economy. If America collapses, the world collapses. China's not going to collapse. Russia's not going to collapse. England's not going to collapse. Well, they can't. We can't afford for them to collapse. Not the big players. The little ones we let go because it's easy to come in and try to fix them and claim it and take over land. It's the new way to colonize, right? You let a small country collapse and you come in and try to take as much as you can while masquerading it as help and assistance. I don't know, y'all. That's just my thoughts. In the Black Girl Love podcast, and that's the black section.
Inside your bedroom.
All right, y'all, we are back for the second portion of Black Girl Love, the podcast, and as always, I'm your host, Kat Williams, and we got a little heavy in that last portion, so we're gonna go a little bit lighter in the girl portion of Black Girl Love, the podcast, and I'm just amazed, y'all. I'm just amazed that y'all are out here on Beyonce's internet trying to blame Beyonce for Chloe Bailey's less than spectacular album sales. How dare you? The audacity. The album just ain't that good from what everybody keep telling me. I don't listen to Chloe Bailey or the other one either for that matter. I heard they could sing though. And I may be showing my age. And that's okay, because we all got age, right? I mean, that's the beauty of living, is aging as well. Because, we haven't invented a pill yet that's going to not have us aging. So, with that being said, why don't y'all blame her? I mean, if the album ain't good, it ain't good. Was this the right time to drop it? Maybe. Maybe not. Albums ain't really selling right now. Singles are selling. Maybe she should have just dropped a couple singles. I don't know. I'm not a music exec. I'm still listening to 90s R&B. still, and music that sounds like 90s R&B. And I heard hers does too, except her audience isn't me. Her audience is younger kids. And I say younger kids, I mean 20s, early 20s, maybe 30s, that are, looking for her. And I'm not. So, I don't know. R&B ain't R&B no more, so everybody's saying they're going to try to bring it back. And I'm just amazed that it died. And I got my theories on why it died and who helped it. But, I got fussed at the last time I said something about that. And they said I was wrong because I blamed Teddy Riley. I sure did. I blamed Teddy Riley for trying to put a rap song on every R&B or even pop music. He had to put a rapper on there for a verse or two. And then that became the standard. And then rap took over. And R&B just became the hook instead of the rap being the hook, or vice versa, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that's my opinion. And if you hear this, I sure do blame you, Teddy. I do. And y'all can take it how you will. I was there. And that's just my impression. And I could be wrong. I'm willing to be wrong. It's not a problem. I can be wrong. But I'm still going to go 10 toes down that Teddy Riley killed R&B. And if you smart, you'll agree with me. And if you don't, comment below why you think R&B has died or is dying or is on life support. I mean, music in general is crappy right now, right? So it's not just R&B. What genre is really thriving right now? Oh, you know what's really good right now? Afro beats. Almost anything from the motherland is sounding real good right now. Island music is sounding really good. Yeah, it's real good out there. Tim's, yeah, she doing the dang thing. There's a few people, man. TikTok. If you want to look for some new artists, I know they make TikTok music, people. I'm not talking about the TikTok music, but every now and then somebody will just showcase new artists, and they're not American, and that just be how things are. We on a decline in more than one way, and we're not gonna get into my rant on that again. But we will have to talk about Shanquella Robinson and the U.S. deciding not to prosecute her killers. That surprised me today. I don't know why. It was leaning that way, you could tell, right? Because Mexico didn't extradite anybody. They haven't brought them here for anything. So I sort of had a feeling this was going to happen. And it's sad, y'all, that this young woman went to a foreign country with friends to party, and they beat her to death. There's no other way around it. They beat her to death. And I don't know what kind of punishment outside of the judiciary system in America or Mexico will work here. Outside of that, right? I don't want to even remotely mention that, people should go and attack these killers, right? That's not right. We don't have mob mentalities, even though they were a mob and they beat her to death. I just don't know where we're at. If they don't want to do anything, and Mexico doesn't want to do anything, then they just got away with murder. In the public eye, they got away with murder. Whew, child, between them and passport bros and girls, because, people don't want to talk about them passport bros and girls, but they out here. They is really, 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 really out here. And we're going to get into that in the next segment of Black Girl Love, the podcast. I just want to keep it light with that one, even though I ended on Shanquella Robinson. And if I'm saying her name wrong, please correct me. But I did want to bring that up. Alrighty, y'all, we are back for the third and final segment of Black Girl Love, the podcast. And we're going to talk about love and my love of traveling. I haven't really talked about that much. I've mentioned that I travel. And that I've been on a traveling journey since 2019, where I've been outside of the U.S. COVID hit in 2020, so I wasn't the only person or persons who were caught out, whose life was changed because of COVID. But I've enjoyed my journey so far. But with all that being said, there's all this discussion and the various social media platforms, our new third space, about Americans and how they travel and how people can spot Americans very, very easily. And we are easily spottable, y'all. If you didn't know, now you know. From your girl, Kat. We're loud. We're extremely loud. But I blame that on America. Everything here in America is loud. Like, you go to a restaurant and you gotta holler to be heard. I don't get that. Why do you have loud music playing in a restaurant? It's so weird to me. It's supposed to be background noise, like white noise, very low. But you can hear it, but not really hear it. Instead, they turn it up on 10, and so you gotta talk at 15 to be heard, which is ridiculous. I didn't pay, $100 to shout across the table at whoever I'm dining with, but that's where we're at. And we take up a lot of space, and I don't know if that's an American thing. In this sense, I don't know where we got that taught from, but we stand, we walk, we take up a lot of space. And we don't generally learn the languages of where we're going, and I'm guilty of that. I'll be the first to admit it. I didn't even try to learn Vietnamese rather. I did learn a few keywords, but not many. In Cambodia, keywords, but not many. Here in Mexico, keywords, but I am trying because I realized there was an error in my ways. Everybody is not going to speak English. You're going to be in countries where you might be the only English speaker that you can see, right? Or English good enough that you can communicate. So, what am I saying to you? If you want to travel and you want to explore your love of travel, leave some of that Americanness behind, right? One of the things that I've noted when people move, especially to, say, even Mexico, right? They say they want to move to get away from whatever was going on in their lives, wherever they came from, right? In America. And I'm speaking on Americans because I am American. They talk about how they want to get away from it. All the social constructs in America, the fast pace, the overworking, underpaying, all that stuff. So they move to Mexico. But they bring those same sensibilities with them. They come here and they're trying to get something set up, and they're like, well, they're taking too long, because in America, you send in a complaint or a request for service and we want it right then. And sometimes you can get it right then. A lot of countries don't work like that. No, they're not gonna rush for you, boo. So you're going to let that go. When they say mañana, it could be anything. It could be 2 mañanas, 5 mañanas when they show up. And they may never show up. And you're like, but don't they want this money? But isn't that why you left America? Because you said money was running everything. So if their child wants them to hang for that day, and instead of working, they go hang with their kid, are they wrong? Are you right? You feel what I'm saying? So you gotta leave some of that Americanness behind if you want to be successful in your traveling journey, even if it's only for a week, But if you're looking at permanently relocating, you want to really change your mindset. And I've always said that typically it takes a year for you to let go of stuff, right? And in that year, you're not only learning your new country, the culture, you're learning yourself within that country and that culture, right? And that's a big thing that nobody really talks about, I don't think. I think you have to sit back and realize or figure out how you're going to work within the confines of the new rules of your new country. And you're like, but I want to be free. Ain't no such thing as being free. Free it's free on paper. That's about it. Everywhere you live, there's rules and regulations, baby. Recognize that, and that'll help you out right there. But yeah, learn the norms, right? Learn that it takes 2 to 3 days to get something. Learn that all the stores are not going to be Walmart. You're not going to have everything in one stop. Matter of fact, that's the beauty of Mexico and other countries. It may take you 4 store stops to get everything you need for your household. That's fine. You get to see the city. You get to intermingle. and you're supporting businesses, local and otherwise, right? So you got to look at it from that perspective. Everything doesn't have to be in under one building where there's a mass shooter at. Hey, let's be honest, right? So that's what I'm saying when I say let your Americanness go. All the things that irritated you in America, don't bring that with you, right? When you go to a restaurant and you're not sure about tipping, ask locals. Should you tip? Every country doesn't tip. I personally hate tipping. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous that someone should depend on me to tip them instead of the employer who hired them. And they're standing there, 10, 12 hours or whatever their shift may be. I personally think just put it into the food cost. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what they do everywhere else in the world. But here we are, still trying to figure out if we should tip or not. No, but I do tip because, Americans have come here and the tipping culture is here. It's just not as much as in America, which is good, But that was one of the things I did like when traveling, is not having to tip, paying for a service, and then just getting it and moving on with my life. And customer service is not the customer service that you're used to in America. They're not going to kiss your ass. They don't have to. They are a human just like you. You don't have to shop there. Somebody else will come in and shop there. And if you don't like it, leave. You feel what I'm saying when I say that? Customer service is service. It is, do you need some help? Maybe. Point to it, ring you up, and get you on up out of there. I don't need you to kiss my ass to make me feel good about spending 5 pesos or 500 pesos in your store, right? I just want to come in. I want to come in and get what I came for, and I want to leave. And this is for all ages, young and old. I've seen some old coots around here, which is annoying. I've seen some young ones, young fools. You come here with this little entitlement because your dollar may stretch further, and then there you are, thinking you better than everybody else in the room, and you're not. Let's be honest, you're not. You weren't in America, you're not going to be here. So let that go too. And it seems like I'm complaining and pointing the finger. I'm not. I'm really trying to help you. And if you hear me well. When I say let it go and let the newness in, you're going to find a whole bunch of new. And the new is great. There's some things here I just absolutely love. There's just things of freedom. I like going to different stores. I just have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still, sometimes I'm like, man, I wouldn't mind having it all up under my roof. Then I'm like, no, but then I won't get to see things, do things. Blase, blase. I like that there's no rush for anything. I don't need you to run to take care of me. I'm not a child. I'm not a toddler. I'm an adult. If you tell me it's going to take 3 days to fix it, it's going to take 3 days to fix it. And I'm okay with that. I don't have to be okay with it because I ain't fixing it. So the person who told me he can fix it, or she can fix it, it's going to take them 3 days before they can get over here. And then we shall wait. And we will be okay. You going to still keep breathing. You're going to still get you something to eat and sit on the couch and watch TV. Unless the TV's broke. Then just go buy another one. But actually, you can get stuff fixed here. That's the other thing. So that's my thing. If you love travel and you want to see the world and you want to experience it all and you want to get as much from it as you can, let some of your preconceived notions go. Let some of your arrogance go. And just be you. Be you that you don't even know you knew. Does that make sense? It makes sense to me. Right? And with that being said, I am Kat Williams, and this is Black Girl Love, the podcast. We'll see you next week, y'all. Peace and love.